webinar on Agentic AI Use Cases for Security. I'm Nitin Raina. I'm the global CISO for ThoughtWorks. I have the pleasure of moderating the session today. We will start with introduction. So I will first introduce Praveen Kothari. Praveen is a serial entrepreneur and founder CEO of Point Guard AI. Praveen has been leading innovation in AI security and governance and has helped multiple enterprises navigate the risks and responsibility of this new AI era. He's built and scaled multiple cyber companies, to name a few, Cipher Cloud, Risk Vision, and ArcSight. All of them have been successfully acquired, and Praveen is known for turning bold ideas into trusted platforms.
Yeah.
He's shaped. Can you go on mute, please? Whoever is joining can. Yeah, thank you so much. Hey, welcome, Praveen. Thank you, Praveen. I also have Shantanu. Shantanu is
Yeah,
the Senior Vice President at Divine. He's the global certified CISO. He's also member of FBI InfraGuard and serves as a virtual CISO to various mid-market companies. And he's also positioned as a strategic CISO advisor to many Fortune companies. He helps enhance cybersecurity posture through innovation and business value-driven initiatives. Welcome, Shantanu.
thank you.
All right. I I think we have Chanda. Is Chanda joined? I don't see her. So yeah, I think we're missing one, but I think we'll get the ball rolling. So the topics for today's conversation is around agentic AI and what agentic AI means for security. So we will start with what is agentic AI. So as the moderator for today's session, I want to set the stage. When people call AI, I think there are multiple sub areas or subsections of AI. Like you all have heard of generative AI, but there is a new buzz around agentic AI. So, simple definition of agentic AI is AI systems that are autonomous, right? They are autonomous and they act and make decisions. They have the decision-making capacity. These systems can plan and reason. They can take actions and has the ability to learn and adapt. And they operate in a very persistent manner. So that's the start. We talk about why does it really matter for cybersecurity? We all know there are continuous escalation of threats. We need to do more threat hunts internally as a cyber team, and there is so much of need to do automated way of incident response. And you can also agree with me that increasingly we are seeing more insider threat related alerts as well. So this is the reason why it is important for cybersecurity. And the next question I have, just setting the stage, is what is the business imperative? Why we need to think of agentic AI for security and why now? I think we need to keep in mind that threat actors are already leveraging AI. They're already using AI and AI-based techniques to penetrate into the organization. We also see that the way the scale on in which we are operating and the scale of operation is continuously growing. We cannot afford to throw more people to the problem. We need ways in which we can handle the increased alerts and without adding more fatigue and load on our staff. And last but not the least, this is not something new to people, but cost pressures. We all are in cyber. We are seeing cost pressures, and we are seeing we are asked to do handle these cost pressures in a very smarter way. So these are the three open initial framing. I see Chanda has joined. Chanda, great to see you. We had a little bit of hiccup, but I'll introduce Chanda as well, and then I'll get on with the question. Chanda is the the global head of information security at William Blair. William Blair is a prominent investment management and financial services firm. Chanda is responsible for managing William Blair's cybersecurity strategy, protecting digital assets, and ensuring that firm meets all regulatory security requirements. Her special focus is on proactive defense and business resiliency. Welcome to the forum, Chanda.
Thank you, everybody. I'm looking forward to this discussion.
Thank you. So, without any hesitation, I think I'll go to the main topic, and let's talk about applying agentic AI to existing security processes. So, I want to start with Praveen. Praveen, obviously you've been building this, right, for as a startup, as a product company. What are the most promising agentic AI use cases you're seeing in enterprise security today?
Sure, Nick. You can hear me?
Yes, all good, Praveen. Please go ahead.
So, as you know, right, you mentioned the cost is a big problem. But if you look at the enterprise, cost definitely is an issue. But also the real problem is the talent gap, right? Whether it's because of the cost, because of the lack of talent gap is a huge problem right now. People are not, and the second problem is the sheer volume of the security data. That is impossible for a human to now go through all those, millions and billions of, gigabytes of data now every day. So this two big problems are landing very nicely for agentic AI, because as you said, agentic AI can act autonomously, right? It can make real-time decisions. It can continuously learn and adapt. So the very powerful capabilities makes a great use case for many security use cases can be solved, which were not solved before. Because as you know, right, most companies don't look at low problems and medium problems. They don't even have time to look at high-end critical issues. So now with agentic AI coming in, a lot of those things can be now accomplished. The very first use case, as you mentioned, also is the threat detection. Is coming as more and more in our customer base that they want to deploy agentic AI, because this is also the biggest pain they have when the hackers are continuously using more and more modern way of attacking you. Especially they are deploying agentic AI much ahead of the enterprises. It looks like Gartner says there will be at least 3-4 years of lead time they have before enterprises get equipped with agentic AI on the defense side. So they are already ahead of you. So that's the very first use case people are trying to deploy threat detection, because it is like in threat detection incident response side, agentic AI has become like a PhD level of security analyst on steroids, right? Who never sleeps, continuously processes vast amount of data in milliseconds, and it can instantly detect and act, right? It can act based on the huge amount of context they assemble, aggregated in a reasoning level, in a perception level they have. And they can make some very quick decisions. They can continuously monitor network traffic. They can consume all your logs. You can provide all in seconds, right? And also a lot of signals you are getting from every employee. You're getting signal from every machine. It's very hard to process for a human, but they can process it. They can make sense out of it. And they can signal there's a malware attack or there's a phishing attempt or even low and slow attack they can detect. So in doing all that, they just not send you a signal, but they actually can immediately isolate the affected system. They can block the traffic. Attack in progress, they can block it. And it can start collecting your forensic data for investigation as well. So all can be done in seconds without human intervention, but you always have a choice to put human in the loop where you want them to be, right? It drastically cut down the time to respond to a threat. So this is a very popular use case right now to deal with ever-growing threat landscape coming from hacker side. So now enterprises are moving from we can call it detect and respond model to more towards prevent and autonomously remediate. Right. So that's a very powerful notion and promise we have here with agentic AI coming in, because it can act, it can also learn. A second use case we see very common is the vulnerability management. because as you know, right, every enterprises have, huge amount of vulnerabilities open there. Again, low and medium, again, sitting there. And many of these medium can be a problem if you put enough context around it, if you know what's going on in the enterprise contextually, whether it's business impact coming from, whether it's coming from, behavior analysis around those systems. So now with agentic AI, it can autonomously identify your critical risk because they have a huge amount of data processing power. They can prioritize them, right, based on real time threat intelligence and also impact to your business for those applications. And they can initiate very targeted remediation workflow, right? They can even provide the remediation fixes. They can even do unit test for you, right? They can test the entire fix for you. And they can, depending on how much automation you want, how much human in the loop for approval and verification you want. But that all can be automated thanks to the agentic AI, right? So there are a lot of interesting use cases, and you see that more and more will come out because many security problems can only be solved with agentic AI and AI overall, right? One interesting use case I want to bring up is the how do you fighting fire, right? If you are building very advanced AI systems, or if you have any AI in the system in your enterprise, the only way to protect from any threats there is going to be AI. AI only can defend AI, for example, right? I think Nitin, you mentioned that will be a separate webinar we will have on how do you defend your AI system. But this is the one area we can see that if your AI models are getting thousands of prompts every day and millions of prompts every day, there is no way a human or even traditional security can see which prompts are safe, which prompts are not safe, right? You need AI to defend AI. So we'll talk about that separately, but this is very, very interesting, what's happening today with the application of agentic AI on the cybersecurity.
That's very helpful, Praveen. I think lot of good points, right? You highlighted the importance of workload that everybody is facing. You talked about the signals. You talked about AI to prevent and secure AI. I think those are all themes that are being seen in our enterprises, in our organizations, but also in the industry. So thank you for sharing your thoughts on that topic. I will switch and I'll move to Chanda. So, Chanda, my question to you is how do you see AI agents improve incident preparedness and ransomware readiness? Because you're in financial services and this will be a top of mind risk that you will always have on your head. So, do you want to share some of your thoughts, Chanda?
Absolutely. Thank you, Nathan. So again, I think my esteemed colleague talked about some of the very, areas which is of prime importance and how the AI is helping us. He talked about vulnerability assessment, which is a continuous, theme. Earlier, we used to go and patch after the fact. Now, in this field of vulnerability assessment, it's happening continuously. The scan is happening continuously. It's being, the risk is being ranked against the vulnerabilities, and the tools are telling us, this is the highest level of risk that you have in your environment. These are the ones that you should patch. Here is the patch. Just go ahead and patch it. So I think instead of us identifying after the fact that these are the areas and manually going through it, the system, the AI agents are already doing it for us. So I think that's an area of, which is very helpful that we have become proactive in this area of vulnerability assessment and again, patching it up as quickly as possible. Some of these other areas, right? He talked about threat detection. It's not just giving an alert of, hey, this is an issue in your system. Like earlier, it used to happen, they would be giving a huge number of alerts. The system would be giving a huge number of alerts, and our security team is overwhelmed because you're not able to connect the various alerts, right? Now, what AI system is doing is that they are able to group the alerts together, right? And then tell us that, hey, this is a particular, this is an area which is of concern or which is of threat because we have a user who logged in from a different location. It's a different IP address, which is not his. He's trying to access a different file. So all this assessment, which human was doing earlier, we had to look at different alerts and try to connect. Is there a connection? That is something which the agentic AI is already doing it and giving it to us. So it becomes easy for our team to basically look at now the threads that, okay, it does make sense. Now is it, now I have to do a second level of eyeing, which is like I have all the assessment analysis in place, whether it makes sense or not, right? So that's one of, it has made our assessment very, very easier and faster. Right. The other area which is extremely helpful, and we can see the change in our environment with the new tools or addition of the agentic AI being introduced in the security tools, is the behavioral analysis which they're able to do. Right. What they're able to do is they have a baseline which they're setting up, that this is the user, this person logs in, communicate with this person, this is the IP they're using. If there is any anomaly which the tool is seeing that, hey, there is a difference, this person is using a different file which he's not supposed to, it will tag that as a threat. Right now, in terms of ransomware, if it sees enormous amount of encryption or deletion of the file, it's going to tag that as a threat. So those are some of the areas which AI is helping us, our security team, manage the threats much easier than what we used to do, where we used to look at signatures, static signatures, which would change very, very often. But with this, threat detection, the behavior anomaly detection, predictive analysis, I think that has really helped our security team and us to strengthen our security posture.
Thank you very much, Chanda. I think the points that you touched on, especially on the predictive analysis, real-time threat detection, and automating and actually making autonomous the vulnerability management areas is resonating really well, and resonates to what Praveen had previously highlighted as well. Before I move to the next question, and I get Shantanu on the spotlight. Praveen or Shantanu, do you have any additional input to what Chanda has shared? Anything that you guys would wish to add?
Yeah, it's spot on. Yeah, spot on.
Okay, sounds good. I'll come to you, Shantanu, and I think we are from a delivery and operational lens, like all of us have to wear multiple hats, right? While we have to make sure we secure the organization, we also have to get the work done as a group of leaders. So let me ask you, when you look at agentic AI and you look at some of the capabilities that agentic AI brings, how are you seeing that CISOs, like some of us who are there on the call, and I would start with you, how can we leverage this to get things done faster and with more reliability? Because that's, I think, a very key and important thing. So do you want to share some of your thoughts?
Sure, and that's a perfect segue to the use cases and the IR aspect Chanda mentioned. So, in 3 words, it's cheaper, better, faster. Typically, especially in IT cyber, we are used to, like, if you get 2 out of 3, you're lucky, right? Whether it's a vendor or it's a product or what have you. In case of agentic AI, the CISO teams get all 3. For like example, the minimization of alert fatigue, and that's in SOCs, especially from IR point of view. The autonomous response capability. It's creating a work-life balance for the SOC teams. It's creating a cost reduction by not having so many people on standby. And the alerts are acted upon autonomously if they make a cutoff. So that's the tactical aspect of delivery, I will say, and operations in that sense. The larger benefits come when the agentic AI focuses on the strategic delivery initiatives. I'll give you a few examples. Orchestrating decisions between cyber, IT, and business stakeholders, especially when you start touching the realms of resilience and business continuity management. Those autonomous actions save a lot, and that's orchestrating that definitely. Um, Looking inward from a CISO point of view, I would say KPI and SLA analytics that the agentic AI can build through, and that will help identify the bottlenecks, that where are the process. And let's face it, we are, as much as we try, some process breaks somewhere, right, in whatever we do. So it helps organizations improve those process and workflows, especially when the CISO and their team is involved, and it helps us take charge, because when we start talking, people listen because we are CISO, right? So yeah, so that's my couple cents.
Sorry, I was on mute, but thank you, Shantanu. I think spot on. You talked about if you don't measure, what we are doing, we don't know where and how to improve. Like if we can throw AI to all of these problems and those success metrics, KPIs that you talked about, if we can leverage it, I think that's great. And you touched on the previous thread which Praveen and Chanda highlighted
Yeah.
around alert fatigue. So thank you for adding both of those points. Thank you very much. I will take a circle and I'll sort of go back to Praveen. I think Praveen also has, as we all know, he's built a lot of companies. And based on, the work that you're seeing, Praveen, around agentic AI, and we all are putting so much of emphasis, not just on operational side of security and architecture, but even for things like AppSec, right? Product security and application security. So share with us, those key use cases that you have seen in the industry, and and what do you think would be the impact if we apply agentic AI to those use cases?
Sure, Nitin. So you can think of agentic AI as a whole new kind of a teammate for your AppSec team, right? It's not just running your quick check on your code, but it is continuously 24 by 7 working to secure your application in ways you couldn't do before, right? So, for example, we used to have we had to find vulnerabilities and then manually fix them, right? That was the norm. It was very slow, very reactive process. But now comes the agentic AI. It can do autonomous vulnerability remediation, like a proactive defender for your code or your application. So instead of just identifying vulnerabilities, agentic AI actually can now fix them. For example, it can continuously monitor what's published by CVE, every minute, every second. And the moment CV is published, it can analyze the applicability and exploitability to your code. And then it can generate a patch. It can create a unit test to validate the fix, and all in a fraction of minutes. And that's kind of thing we talked about, right? Part of vulnerability management. Same thing applicable to AppSec. Second use case we see much more deployed here actually is called it's like code review, right? Your code testing, security testing of your code, and code review of your code. It's like having a smart security guard on your CI/CD pipeline, right? As soon as the new code comes in, a pull request is made, it can monitors that. It can act as it can automatically actually analyze your code, review all the requests, and identify all the design flaws and security vulnerabilities, right? And also enforces your whatever policy you have and standards in the company. So this will help you catch those problems much early and ship left side rather than in production. So that's a very, very good application of agentics AI here in the application security. Another area that we are seeing is that red teaming or dynamically testing your application, because agentic AI can behave like an attacker. It very simulate all sorts of attacks on your application. And that's very time-consuming process. And it's very static in the past, but now it's becoming more dynamic as agentic AI can learn, adapt, and do very clever thing. Find all possible exploit, all possible vulnerabilities in your application, right? So basically, AppSec is now being transformed with agentic AI. with from more of a to reactive process to more proactive process, more static process, right, to more dynamic process.
Yeah, excellent points, Praveen. I've been sort of diligently taking notes and trying to, build this story. I think you talked about a lot of good things. Like the thing is, see agentic AI as your teammate. You cannot have more people. You can't add more people to the team because, obviously there is a challenge that we all face with our shrinking budgets. But on top of it, like you still have to do things. You still have to do, you have to do an offensive test on your application. You have to do code reviews. You have to have the capabilities in which when you're building the software through CI/CD stages, it is checked and it is free and the vulnerabilities are fixed. So I think excellent points that you have raised. Chanda, Shantanu, anything you would want to add to what Praveen has just shared? All right. Then we'll move on to the next question. And my next question is for Chanda. I think the question here is that, you have seen autonomous agent, basically being used to enhance runtime visibility and policy enforcement in especially in the cloud native environment. So what are some of your learning how this can be done, and what are the advantages or impact that one would see if this is done in the right way? So, Chanda, if you can share more on this one.
Sure. Sure. And I think, as we are all moving to the cloud native environment, we have a lot of applications which are just, built on a cloud native architecture, right? In the past, we had lacked that solution. Okay, what can we use to secure our cloud native, applications? And we have recently seen that our traditional security tools or that exist, the Defender and the abnormals, those are things which we have Kenna, Qualys, various systems, various security tools that exist, right? They really cannot support us when it comes to the cloud native environment. And the reason being the way the cloud native environment is structured is and architected is very different. They work in the form of containers. They work in the form of pods and nodes. But then the kind of solution that we need is there are tools who should be able to actually go in and look inside the pods and the nodes and see what's going on, right? Be able to assess them at that granular level. And with agentic AI, I think that's what we have seen, that the agentic AI is able to do is it goes inside those pods and those nodes, able to look at, establish a particular behavior. And so if a workload is capable of, or a workload does a particular task, it goes and access a file using a particular IP. If it's trying to do a different process, then this agentic AI is able to flag this as a threat and saying that why is this workload doing something else compared to what is its usual behavior, right? So I think that's one of the helpful thing that we have seen with the agentic AI, that we are able to go into that much of a granularity, and they are able to flag if there is anything different than the usual expected behavior. The other thing that we see is, you have a particular event that is happening right now. That particular event, the agentic AI is able to connect that event to a source, right? That, okay, this was, it incorporated from this particular process, from this particular node. So this is where I need to go and look at and investigate. So we are getting to that granularity that, okay, this is where it arises. Let me go and look into this area. So I think that's another deep contextual analysis is something which they're able to do. And another area, right, vulnerability management, they are able to go and continuously run or scan the particular the workloads, to see if there is vulnerability that exists, matching it up with the threat intelligence, and if it finds there is something that that is going up or is of a high risk, it's able to flag that immediately. So I think those are some of the capabilities that agentic AI has that our traditional, again, tools, security tools did not have it. But with the advancement of the agentic AI, I think we have seen that we have these kind of security tools coming up and able to help provide us support or secure our cloud native environment or applications existing on those environments.
Pardon me, Nitin, you're on mute, looks like that. I apologize.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was
Yeah.
talking to myself. So yeah, what I was saying is I think the points that Chanda highlighted are very relevant. And I was just thinking, out of a lot of these capabilities, when we are implementing, I think we're only looking at the improvement side, right? Productivity side. We're looking at the speed. With speed comes risks as well. So, stay tuned, right? Suraksha Catalyst will also talk about how we can secure AI as well. So this one is very specifically how AI can transform a security function, but we will have a follow-up session with some new faces where we'll talk about how AI is able to secure AI as well. So, just wanted to add that plug. I will move in the interest of time. I think we are going well with the questions and the responses, but I'll keep moving. My next one is for you, Shantanu. So, when you look at your organization, and you look at the balance that we are all talking about, automation with human oversight, how are you seeing, what's your take on this area? What are your thoughts? Like, are we balancing it well, or is the balance more around productivity and less on making sure that we do it in the right way? So please add your thoughts.
Yeah. So I hope many of you know Richard Baldwin when he was speaking at World Economic Forum. Perhaps the most famous quote of in vogue, right? AI won't take your job. It's somebody using AI that will take your job. So that's where the balance is going to start manifesting as such. The LLMs, Agentic AI, MCB, what have you, RAG, the acronym soup continues, right? Um, One thing they don't have is the conscience and critical thinking skills. So at least for next at least for next 10 to 15 years, those will not be baked into AI. Once quantum hits, those things will start because you need that larger compute overall. So with that, I do emphasize the need of human oversight and review, not only uh, on the gray areas, because many organizations say, hey, the autonomous decision was taken, don't bother looking at it. And I would say no, even those decisions that were taken that were clear beyond the cutoff and everything, review them. As such, have your junior guys review it. That way you're not spending high value people on the decisions that are made. So the trust in AI, although the adoption rate is high, will only increase when we establish these checks and balances, especially in security operations. I know we talked about multiple use cases, but security operations is where you definitely don't want a decision that could backfire, and suddenly, for that autonomous decision, you're in the news headlines. It's a double whammy, right? So that's what I would say. Human airside couldn't go, and installing like discipline and skills to balance that is crucial. Yeah.
No, thank you, Shantanu. I think the point on the word you stressed is the AI won't take your job, but if it's somebody using AI, that will take that could take your job. I think that's absolutely true. I think we are all under a lot of pressure to do things faster, quicker with leaner budgets, and that's the reason why we even have arranged this webinar today. And you did talk about. The future as well. You talked about quantum. Obviously, we can surely think of having a separate discussion on quantum, a topic
Yeah.
which everybody is very passionate on. So yeah, I think
Thank you.
that's really good. Thank you, Shantanu. I will move on And I'll talk about the human and AI collaboration. I think this is more the theme that I would want to get out of the panelists. And these will be open questions, but I think, I think all of them will have an opinion. Uh, Culture, trust, and adoption, right? So if you look at these broad three themes, from your organization, from your ecosystem point of view, how do you think we can foster trust in AI-driven decisions? And this is again very focused within security. So within your cyber teams, how do you think you could do it? So let me, in whatever way you want to go, I can start with Praveen, maybe get his insight, and then Shantanu and Chanda, I'd love to hear your thoughts too.
Sure, Nitin. I think definitely agree. Fostering trust in AI-driven decisions are going to be crucial for successful adoption of AI. Shantanu just talked about human oversight and control, right? That's it's critical as agentic AI is very autonomous, but it doesn't mean that you lose oversight, right? So security leaders must retain full governance, visibility, and control over what agents are doing, the process. So you need to make sure that you have approval workflow for very sensitive action and very very strategic action. And while for tactical for more routine thing, you don't have to give in the loop. So that's one way to solve that problem. Make sure you still have control. But as the time goes, more and more automation will happen. Will minimize human in the loop situations. But definitely, right? Human oversight is critical. But also, there is something called observability is also happening now, right? The automated oversight is happening with a point called AI system. We have observability platform for monitoring all the agentic behavior, so that you can put some automation there, but also you may have to keep the oversight. Another thing is called explainability AI, XAI it is called. So you need to make sure that your AI governance framework is mandating transparency and explainability of AI so that all the logic and all the reasoning behind your automated responses are understandable and also auditable and also documented. So there are tools out there that are crucial to help you understand how agents are making decisions. It's called XAI.
Yeah, thank you very much, Shantanu. Very, very, or Praveen, for your inputs. But anything that you want to add, Chanda, and then maybe Shantanu, you can also add
Sure.
your thoughts.
Yeah, I think everything that Praveen said is completely appropriate, right? We do want to get out of that place of, hey, it's a black box. I don't know why this is giving me this decision. I just take it, right? And that's not something that we can rely on. We need to see why it got to a particular decision, why it's saying this is a threat. It should be able to very prescriptively tell me, okay, these are A, B, C, 3, D things that I've seen to come to this conclusion. That's important for my team to be able to place a trust in the AI, right? Otherwise, you're like, all right, if it's just an output given without the justification, it does not help me because I am now responsible to take that input and present it to my stakeholder or make a decision that, okay, I should isolate the system or I need to close the account for a particular person. As Praveen said, yes, explainability extremely important. They should be able to explain us why they have taken a decision or the system has taken a decision. Agentic AI has taken a particular decision. The other thing, what I have seen and is very helpful is having keeping a record of the false positives and the true positives, right? When we start tracking that hey, by using this system which is using agentic AI, I have been able to find, or the system is able to find these many true positives, right? And there may be a couple of false positive it has found, right? But that kind of a matrix, performance matrix, gives us confidence and boost in the work that the system is doing. Again, there are systems in place, or there are ways that we can interact with the AI system and tell them that these are false positives, and this is why these are false positive, and they should be able to take the input. And the next time I see the same event happening, it should not be flagging it as a threat, but again, accept it, right? Again, so I think the performance matrix thing, that is one thing that I've seen that has increased trust in us and the agentic AI, not just us, even the stakeholders, our businesses. Sometimes we have to go and talk to our CIOs and CEOs and say, how do you ensure that this is not happening in an environment? Hey, this is what we see. We are not just relying on AI. We are also continuously looking at the ranking. We are continuously looking at the performance matrix, and this is how much I can trust because this is my this is the result that I get from the agentic AI system that I've put in place.
That's very helpful, Chanda. I think in the interest of time, and I want to give at least 10 minutes for questions at the end. So I'll move on to the next point or the question I have. We all know that, to actually perform and do more with AI, we have to develop skills. We have to get our security professionals trained and ready. So let me position this question to Shantanu. Shantanu, what do you think are essential skills that will make security professionals successful in this era?
Sure. Nitin, and I know there are multiple answers. The top three I would recommend: critical thinking, managing inflated stakeholder expectations, big one actually, and networking, personal, professional networking. And I'll explain that. Especially in the era of LLMs and having answers at a fingertip, even faster, the people have stopped thinking and they have stopped critical thinking. So taking a step back and looking at it in a proper perspective, and that's going to be a very important skill. Otherwise, those are the ones they are in the layoff category. Essentially, I kid you not. In that sense, managing inflated the business because again in this instant gratification, everybody is used to clicking a button or swiping here, there, whatever, and get things done. Managing that AI takes time. The models need to be trained, and the false positives, like Chanda mentioned, they need to be fed back, and AI gets nice and dangerous over a period of time. And managing that hey, this is not your ERP where you put a purchase order and it's gone, kind of a thing. Those, and especially in information security community, networking, including events such as this, because there's a lot of diarrhea going on. You open your LinkedIn page and everybody and their sister and brother is suddenly expert. And in that sense, going with that professional networking in a trusted setting, such as honestly I will say Suraksha Catalyst, is increasingly important because you get wisdom there, not a wall full of posts as such. Yeah, so that's my 3 cents.
That's very helpful, Shantanu. Thanks for the plug. Especially networking in this era is so crucial, and people's it's not just about the lunch and the dinner. The thing, when you talk and connect with people, you learn so much. So I fully agree. I would maybe ask Praveen. Praveen, any thoughts on this? What do you think the key skills are?
Yeah, I think Santanu covered really well. I would say now that agents are doing some routine tasks, security professional will transition from more technical responder to more strategic orchestrator, because orchestrator in the sense that they can pull things together, context together about the overarching risk reduction in the company, business alignment, and ability to actually define where AI operates independent of where humans should lead, right? So that orchestrator role is becoming more useful use of the human talent here. And also, the AI can't build a relationship that easily, right? So you have to collaboration, communication, relationship, and that is going to be critical. All the soft skill that AI cannot do, and bridging the gap basically between business and the security is going to be critical, right? You can do that. And also, needless to say that you have to continuously learn and adapt. Things are changing extremely fast in AI world.
Absolutely. I think that's spot on, Praveen. We are running against time, so I'll quickly go to the next one for you, Chanda. If you look at transparency, and we have to ensure transparency and accountability in AI-driven security workflows, what, how do we do it? Like, can you share some of your thoughts there?
Sure. I think we already talked about it, but when it comes to transparency, I would say the AI should be able to tell me if they have made a decision, why did they make a decision, right? And to that extent, that if you're telling me that there is a login or there is a user which is a threat, you should be telling me what is the percentage that you're relying on, right? For example, this person logged in from different location. That's a 70% reliance or impact. The person changed the password, so that's like a 5% impact, right? So give me those figures and numbers that I can understand, be more transparent, right? And tell me why you have given me a response, and what's the background behind it. I think that becomes very, very important. Having the transparency is helpful for me, because I'm going to take that data, feed in, understand, and then provide it further.
That's very helpful, Chanda. I think in the interest of time, before I jump to the closing thoughts, which is where we will conclude this webinar, I would want to open it up and request the participants. If you have a question for any of the panelists, feel free to unmute and ask your question. So please. Yes, Sunil. Sunil raised his hand. Sunil, can you go off mute and please ask your question?
Yeah, so thank you all, first of all. Amazing webinar here. I learned a lot of new. What do you think about this futuristic attack coming? As you were saying, right? AI is going to attack AI. What is your view on it? What are those kind of threats coming in? And what is our strategy to protect us against that?
That's a great question, and sorry, can I take that?
Yeah, sure. Go for
Yeah.
it. Please,
Yeah,
Chanda.
so I think I'm really excited, and we can already see that it's AI against AI. AI is coming up with a solution which is making us more proactive when it comes to security. But these are the only AI tools that even our bad actors are using to again come and attack us and create scams. And we have seen that, and I think both will develop in a very, very faster pace. So far, at this point in time, I would say, looking at both the sides, what I've seen is, I've not seen massive attacks being conducted using AI tools. What I do see is people getting some malicious code, very, very basic malicious code, trying to put it in a phishing email, trying to send it to the users. I mean, it has broadened it has reached to the number of people that it is being reached out to is a lot more, because it's the people who are using this, typing in a code in chat GPT and Gemini, saying give me a malicious code, picking it up and trying to send it, right? So it has not impacted at that big of a manner at this point in time. I have not heard and seen, but for sure, I mean, it's changing in such a faster pace. So I would be curious to see that has any of those big gangs, the ones who does use ransomware as the service, right? Are they using any of these tools to create attacks, which is going to circumvent the various security tools and processes that we have put in place? So yeah, any other thoughts from me, Shantanu?
Yeah, indeed. I think what I am seeing, especially even in dark web whispers, is the attackers are not going to do traditional ransom kind of attack. They have two major strategies. One is attack the LLMs and agentic AI itself, because a typical agentic AI, you got 3 to 7 admin logins. Go figure. That's the bigger fish, right? And second is especially the product software products and SaaS vendors. finding zero-day exploits in their software is where AI is going to be used maximum by the criminals, because that's where again a zero-day exploit in 1,000 client install base, SolarWinds, what have you, it has a larger impact. So they are not in a mood, and there are FBI, there are bulletins, right? If some of you are familiar, they have a TLP, traffic light protocol, red, green, and if I encourage you to, and I can forward some to Nitin to how they're really going for a nuclear option, if I may say that they're not
Yeah,
using AI. Nobody is worrying about cracking a friggin' password anymore.
yeah, I think that's spot on. And like, just in the interest of time, I think and there's one more person who has raised their hand, so I will get to you, Michael. But just a very important thought here. I think the cost of doing a cyber attack has gone down. So while the sophistication levels, social engineering is still number one, right? Like whether you like it or not, going back to Chanda's point, but anybody can do it, right? Because the cost has gone so down, it's so simple to do it. You will see more of those coming, right? And that's one advice I would share with all the people here, and think like attacker, right? I think we always think as people who are, we think as operators. I think if we switch that thinking, I think we will be able to do much better. So I think Michael, if you want to go with the question, and hope Sunil, this does answer
Thank you.
your question.
Yeah, I did. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunil. Michael.
Thank you, Niti. I have a question for Praveen, which I used to work for him like 20 years ago. I really like your take about AppSec security. I think AI definitely fundamentally changed the landscape of AppSec, right? Used to be a very reactive team, now become much more proactive with all the automations, all the knowledge. And I say one of the operation challenge as the enterprise security for different companies is to consolidate integrate the called CTI, cyber threat intelligence, and threat hunting, and AppSec. And it used to be today is managed by different teams, right? Threat modeling and how that to be integrated together to fundamentally change the AppSec landscape. Instead to be much more reactive, now become much more integrated part to actually to be able to work together with cloud security, data security, threat hunting, the cyber and threat intelligence, make them to be actionable from the CISO point of view, right? Instead to receive report, what I can do with it now with AppSec, with AI agentic. Now you can actually present something more intelligent, actionable, and task. That's really like I looking at for like a Praveen's take for how pointing at AI on this landscape.
Sure.
For
Praveen, you
sure.
want to take that?
Michael, it's great to hear from you. Great to have you here. I think definitely threat modeling is one area which is AppSec supposed to be doing it, but it's not very deployed or much more adopted. And that's with AI, what we are seeing is that threat modeling is becoming much easier. Now you can have a conversation, you can also have different what if scenarios built much more easier, right? So now we are seeing that now threat modeling for AppSec is becoming much more practical and much more common now, thanks to the agentic AI, right? That helps. And also that we talked about automated red teaming, right? Which can emulate the attacker behavior. It can perform continuously. You can automate the red teaming process here. It can navigate your application, download the files, the data, and also it can attempt to exploit vulnerabilities just like a human attacker, right? It can discover those weaknesses that your current static rules and human-based testing cannot find. So I think that's where I see the very exciting thing about AppSec coming with on the threat modeling side, on red teaming side, is going to make our one of the other question we got was from what about the 0 day, right? So those now this agentic AI is going to make uh, much more affordable to have very sophisticated security built into your development process itself, right? Not just on the threat detection side, security operations side, but also application security side. So you can actually find those 0 days yourself, right? You don't have to wait for a third party to do it because your agents are continuously mining and looking for those information. So very excited about what's coming, right? Things are becoming much more proactive with agentic AI, and also I would say democratizations are happening, right? Before this, security was only possible for only very large top Fortune 100 companies. Now everybody can deploy this thing, right? Agentic AI. So there's a major change, which you will see that things are becoming much more affordable, and all the use cases and all those out of the box solutions are coming out to do your do better AppSec and better threat detection, better SOC analyst.
Thank you very much, Praveen. I think just trying to close, we have 2 minutes left. So we will
Nitin,
just quickly talk about closing
Nitin,
thoughts. So
Nitin, can I take this 2 minutes because I actually said.
please, Ankur, go for it.
So thank you, everyone. This is exciting. Obviously, this is one of the best webinars we have conducted. I know Riverside.fm is not the best tool, and I was just texting with Rohit and Arunish on the side that how can we kind of move back to Zoom, and we'll figure that out. But I think this is one of the best webinars in terms of people coming in terms of the content, and what I can promise to all of you here is we have created these chapters, and this was actually led by Chicago chapter. Nitin runs the Chicago chapter. Shantanu and Chanda are based out of Chicago, and Praveen coming in as one of the portfolio companies. Praveen AI is one of our portfolio companies. This is we are committed to run at least once a month webinars for all these chapters coming in. Next, Arunish is working with SF chapter, and then we will work with other chapters, Washington DC chapter. And the way Suraksha Catalysts have grown over the years, I just wanted to see the multi-X coming in. We were 25 CISOs last year. We are 300 plus today. All the three companies who was backing us last year are backing us this year. So I can see this learning, content, collaboration coming in much more stronger and much more stronger and much more stronger. I think multi-X year over year. So thank you all for attending this, and thank you, Nitin. Special thanks to you for organizing this, getting everything together. I know it's not an easy task. I was just reading messages, but you were the person behind the scenes to get this coordinated. Thank you so much.
Thank you. No,
Chanda.
thank you. And thank you, Ankur, Arunish, Rohit, for giving us the opportunity. And thanks to our great panelists. I really loved, interacting with Chanda, Shantanu, Praveen, I think, and to the audience, like the people who have joined, and I don't know, people would have joined in different time zones. So we really, really appreciate everyone's questions, feedback, and share more with us, right? If there are ways we can improve and get better, we look forward for that too. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. See you soon in the next webinar now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.